sure all of you probably wrote something, but I want you to really focus on the syntax. Like, when you did console log, did you open the parentheses? Did you put one of the three possible quotes that we've discussed? Did you put a semicolon at the end? Did you, in your if statement, create an open parentheses and then close parentheses? Did your if condition have a start and end? Right? All of these details are things that if you don't do correctly, your program will not work. Right? We have to be very precise with our programming. So every detail counts. Out of curiosity, if you got every detail right and you think you could just literally like write the same code into a computer and it would run correctly to completion, raise your hand. Not bad, guys. Okay, not bad, not bad. All right, for the rest of you, no problem. This just requires a bit more time and energy. No problem. You just need to practice. Yes? Without what? Okay, listen. So the question is, if she omitted this, suppose she did this, would it still work? Yes, because it's JavaScript. But two reasons I want you to do it. One is, even in JavaScript, it's highly recommended that you put these in. And second, JavaScript is not the last language you're gonna learn. Next one is Java. In Java, you have to do it. In C++, you have to do it. So get into the habit now, so that later it's just intuitive and you don't make mistakes. Yes. Okay. So the next question is, they're known as curly braces. Curly braces. The start and end. Technically, if you only have one line inside of your if condition, you don't need them. But just to make it simple, and you will never make a mistake if you always put them in. So just always put them in. Okay?
In which part? That's the question.
In which? What do you mean, John?
That if it's heteromatic, but in that else it comes heteromatic.
Look. Okay. It always comes to the right. The start always goes to the right. But an if takes a condition, right? It needs arguments in order to decide whether it's true or false. Else doesn't need conditions. So it's still the same. The pattern is the same. If to the left, curly to the right. Yeah. Yes. The only time else can have something more interesting is if it has an if after it. B is equal to A. And this, again, will only run if this is false, then it will go here, and if this is true, it will run. If not, it will continue. Okay, let's try a quiz. I mean, not a quiz. Sorry, it's not a quiz. It's not a quiz. It's not a quiz. Okay. Okay. If I did if false, what would print to the console? What would print to the console?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
As many as you can type. But here's the thing. One thing you guys have to understand is you can't put an else if after an else. That doesn't make any sense. You can't go else and then go else if. That makes no, because else will always, else, if you get to else, that's it. It is true by default. Right? Else is always true. If you yeter kan hasak, often true. So. Okay, look. Else in çalışan. Hayır. Hayır. İlk? Anlam. Այլապես, okay։ Եթե ես ասեմ, եթե դուք 15 տարեկան եք, դուք ձեզ կարող են փուչիկ տալ։ Հակառակ դեպքում ձեզ կտամ կոշիկ։ Okay։ Այդ հասկացաք, չէ՞։ Okay, չկա հասկացաք։ Ով չի հասկացել։ Բոլորը հասկացան, եք։ Ապա ի՞նչն եմ հանկարծ խոսում։ Okay, good. Okay, so you understand. Else is the այլդեպքում։ Այլապես։ Got it? Good. Okay, which means it does not need and off you check կարող ասեք այլապես իսկ եթե. It makes no sense. Այլապես արդեն այլապես, հա։ Դրա համար else-ից հետո else-ը չես։ Fine? Just logically it makes sense. Good. Okay, so let's keep going. So what would this print again?
80.
Good. And by the way, console.log. What would that print? Եթե դու 15 ես, քեզ կտամ փուչիկ։ Իսկ եթե ոչ, բայց դու 18 ես, ես քեզ կտամ կոշիկ։ Այլ դեպքում ես քեզ ոչինչ չեմ տա։ Չէ՞։ If էր առաջինը, եթե այդ չէ, ուրիշ if էր, եթե այդ չէ, նոր այլ դեպք։
Բայց դրանից հետո չի։
Չէ, որտեղ այլ դեպքը արդեն սա։ Մնացած բոլոր դեպքերում, հապա։ Էս է մնացած բոլոր դեպքերում։ Հաջող։ Yes, in that block, in that sequence. Think of an if-else block as like the moment you find a condition that works, you go inside, you run it, you're done. Okay? If it fails, the condition is false, you go to the next one, and you keep doing this until you get either to an else or it just completes and you're done. So you could have this. In
Else
else,
doesn't have condition.
hide in this. Yep. Okay. That's already hitched over. Okay, good. Okay, so look, you could do this. If 1 is equal to 4, do something in here. Else, if 5 is not equal to 5, do something in there. Else, if 9 is greater than 10, do something in there. Else, if, right, 3 is less than 1, do something in there. Else, do something in there. Right, and then obviously whatever I type in here, is here. But if this happened to be that way, what would I get in the console? Nothing, because it runs, remember, we do top down, right? So it runs whatever's there, nothing, goes down, runs nothing, then runs nothing. We get nothing. If I put stuff here, jokes? Okay, now in here, if 8 is greater than or equal to 8, we're going to console.log. Else. So, each company? Okay. My opera voice. Farza? Any questions up until now? Yes, sir.
Can we use if instead of else if?
Okay, very good point. Listen what he's asking. You could also do this, look. Remember the username and password example? So user is Joe. Hang on. Password is anyway. So we know that there's a user in our database called Joe, whose password is AUA, and then they input user is whatever, and then the password they entered is AUA1. Suppose not only do we want to tell them if they get the username wrong, but we also want to tell them if they get the password wrong. In other words, remember how we did this? If user is not equal to input user. Wait. Console.log wrong user name. Remember this? Now if we do else if password is not equal to input password, we can tell them console.log wrong password. Yes? So if in this case, what will it print? Username is wrong and password is wrong. What will the result be?
Wrong username and then
Else հասկանում ինչ ആണ് հայերեն else միատ else է հակառակ դեպքում նշանակում է սա պետք է false լինի որպեսզի հակառակ դեպքում մենք շարունակենք ջան հասկացա՞ չէ Okay so if this is true which is it true It's not true so Joe and Gio are the same So it's true If it's true, we're going to print this and be done, right? Boom. But we want to tell the user that they got the wrong username. They also have the wrong password. So we want to print both. Watch this. Problem solved. This is what you're asking about. Now, this is no longer an else condition, it's another if condition. If the input is wrong, we're going to tell them. If the password is wrong, we're going to tell them. Boom, wrong name, wrong password. If we fix the username, great, we still have the wrong password. If we screw up the username but we fix the password, wrong. Yeah. Oh, sorry, wait, what? Oh yeah, sorry. Wrong name. If we make them both correct, we get nothing, which is correct. Yes?
Else երկուսից հետո են գրում։
Ինչ է ջան։
Else-ը, որ ասենք else։
Else-ը ինչից հետո են գրում։
Եթե երկուսն է սխալ են լինում, else որ գրում ենք, չէ՞։
Ահա, else-ը հակառակ դեպք է։
Համ առաջինի համար են գրում, համ երկրորդի։
So what you could do in this case is you could say something like, just create another if, for example, where you simply say make sure that user is equal to input user and password is equal to input password. And then this is where you let the user in. Es mi varianta. Give me another way to do it. Yes. Es վերջին if-ը իրա else-ը Sense? Հետո ստեղ գրենք console Okay, very good. So, a few points that I want to make about this. First is you will notice there are lots of different ways to represent the same logic. Yeah? You can write the same algorithm with lots of different code. There are lots of ways of doing the same thing. One thing that I will tell you is one way to know that one thing is more optimal than another, a hint. This isn't a rule, it's a hint. If you write more code, less code is always better. Okay? Less code is always better. So this will absolutely work. He's absolutely right. But notice I added more code, right? The previous example that we had, this one, actually even this one, doesn't have an else condition. it has one less thing for us to worry about. One of the things that you guys will notice is as you start writing more code makes things more complicated. And complexity is the worst thing you can have. So do everything you can to write less code. Keep your code as simple as possible. So if you can write the same code simpler with less code, do it. It's a better idea. Got it? Yes? Okay. So in this example, both examples would work, but this is actually better because it's simpler. It's just less code. Okay? Cool. Any questions or concerns before we call it a day? Is that it? Nagarbeng? Turing.